So I noticed when I watched this video back that my recording on my helmet actually hadn't been connected, so I'm kind of getting external recording on the camera, which didn't pick up very well. So rather than subject you to that, I wanted to talk a little bit about something I was thinking about in hindsight for this route specifically. You'll notice that it's just a basic rut, sort of a rut, wouldn't even maybe class it as that, but you know, a certain line that you have to follow. It gets a little bit more rutted later, what you might see, but ultimately you're committed to this track. If I veer off to the left or right, the bike will likely not like that and potentially result in me washing out the front. So the theory is that you stand up, allow the bike to kind of have its flow and find its path, stay loose, keep your hands loose, and stay, ride out the rut, basically, which is correct. Standing position, keep a little bit of momentum, maybe not too much so you don't lose control of the rut overall, but ultimately that will ride you through something that's relatively straightforward. I'm standing here doing a version of that thing. All is good. Gets a little bit more technical after this, as in there's looser stones within the rut itself. The rut is a little bit more narrower, so I think I'm sitting by this stage now and kind of committed to a slower speed as I pick through sort of a deeper rut, watching the bottom a little bit and bottoming out, having a couple of small slips again, which makes me drop into a more of a seated position. At this point, I'm fighting the bike and fighting that line to keep it central, more than letting the bike find that central line for me. I don't think that is again technically best practice, but I do find on the bigger bike with 50/50 tires, more road based tires, if you allow the bike to do the work, at least for me, sometimes then you'll find yourself, it'll veer into the wall of the rut a little bit, and then obviously naturally might find its way back again. But that process alone is enough to wash out the front. So for me, kind of keeping it in line is more of a priority. It does mean that you're getting arm pump. It does mean that you're making the job harder for yourself. And there's probably some instances where you'll fight the back too hard, and if you do lose the line, then you're definitely kind of gone, because you'll kind of get a double corkscrew overall. So that's tried to avoid. But yeah, you can see me here. I'm fighting the bike. I'm sitting down. I'm not quite getting the momentum that I feel comfortable standing, and I feel like the reason why I want to share it is because this is a fairly realistic outcome for a average amateur rider. There's no shame in it. Not being able to apply best practice isn't always such a bad thing. And sometimes if you jump into that best practice and get out of your comfort zone, you might actually find that you will struggle to complete the route, which will lower your confidence overall. So I'm kind of mixing my style, if you like, between what I consciously know is best and what feels right on the bike at the time. And I think that more experienced riders will do that too. You will see people naturally, shifting from standing to sitting, again, working harder within a rut or not or whatever. It's just a bit more fluid, I suppose, when they're doing that. And again, maybe you're not doing a fallback quite as often as I may be doing here, which is, I was also waddling a little bit as well. Again, no shame in it. I don't do it that often, but no shame in it. If you feel like it's between that and potentially losing a heavy bike and going through the process, picking it up, although it's a little bit counterintuitive, you can kind of suffer that for a section as required. I think I was doing it here when the route got especially deep towards the top. So hopefully that's useful as an observation. I'm trying to make a boring video appear interesting to some extent, but yeah. Now, all of that said, if you want to actually listen to the experts explain this, two kind of publications or people that I really like who explain this stuff really well, is Brake Magazine as one, and they always give clear and concise advice, and they have a series on ruts. And Chris Birch, who a lot of you probably have heard of or know, he's got an excellent series, Say No to Slow. It is paid for, and I've kind of advocated on this channel before. I think it is definitely worth the price on there. So the subscription gives you access to all of his videos. There's loads of them, both for adventure and for dirt bike riding, and Ruts is in here as well. And they talk much more about body control and use of clutch, use of braking, all of those things, which I didn't really go into today, and they are hugely useful and more beneficial than anything I've talked about today. So thanks for watching, and take care.